All right, let's dive right into it. Welcome to this explainer where we're unpacking the lives of two absolute giants of history, Peter and Paul. We're going to look at their parallel journeys, their unbelievable earthly trials, and the enduring legacies they left behind. And we'll be pulling this directly from the ancient texts themselves, the Acts of the Apostles, the Gospel of Matthew, and the second letter to Timothy. So let's explore how these two men were forged by profound dedication while staring down absolute, terrifying opposition. Picture this setting. According to the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus and his disciples are hanging out in the region of Caesarea Philippi. Now, historically, this is an area that's literally surrounded by massive, towering temples built for pagan gods and for Caesar himself. So against this huge, overwhelming backdrop of worldly power, Jesus cuts completely through the noise. He gets some crowd answers first, John the Baptist, Elijah, but then he turns directly to his core group and asks, "But who do you say that I am?" It's a question that demands a direct, highly personal answer. No hiding in the crowd. And Simon Peter steps right up. No hesitation whatsoever. He delivers this immediate, definitive response. "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Boom. That single sentence changes the whole game. It establishes his foundational calling and sets some extraordinarily high stakes for the parallel journeys we are about to explore. This wasn't just a casual observation. It was the turning point that completely redirected Simon's life. So, moving into our first section, the foundation of the rock. Let's look at how that profound realization transforms a simple follower into an absolute pillar of faith. Jesus doesn't just give Simon a pat on the back, he actually renames him. He says, "Blessed are you, Simon son of Jonah. You are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church." That is a massive shift in identity. I mean, the name Peter literally translates to rock. And then he's handed the literal keys to the kingdom of heaven with this incredible authority that whatever he binds or looses on earth will be bound or loosed in heaven. Talk about a promotion, right? And Jesus follows it up with this brilliant guarantee of resilience. He states that the gates of the netherworld shall not prevail against it. Now, the netherworld, or Hades, represents total, ultimate annihilation. So Jesus is saying, nope, not going to happen here. It's a cosmic insurance policy against the ultimate powers of death and spiritual opposition. And honestly, it's a good thing he got that promise, because as we're about to see, that resilience was going to be fiercely tested really soon. Which brings us to part 2, miraculous escapes and rescues. So, transitioning into the visceral, gritty reality of their missions, the book of Acts paints a pretty grim picture. King Herod decides to start laying hands on members of the church. He actually just had James executed with a sword, and he realizes, wow, this brutal tactic is a massive political win. The crowds love it. So for his next big PR stunt, he targets Peter. He arrests him right during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, tossing him in prison to await a highly public trial right after Passover. To truly grasp the overwhelming earthly odds here, I want you to just think about the number 16. Herod didn't just lock the cell door and call it a day. He deployed 4 squads of 4 soldiers each. That is 16 heavily armed Roman guards assigned to watch a single sleeping fisherman. It's just absolute paranoid overkill. On the night before his trial, Peter is secured by double chains, literally sleeping sandwiched between 2 soldiers, with even more guards standing watch out at the door. But then we get this covert extraction protocol. Suddenly, a blinding light fills the cell. An angel of the Lord taps Peter, wakes him up, and fires off 3 quick instructions. Get up quickly, put on your belt and sandals, put on your cloak, and follow me. You can practically feel the urgency. And the craziest part, the moment Peter is told to get up, the ancient text says those heavy double chains just literally fall right off his wrists, completely unnoticed by the guard sitting inches away. The sequence that follows is straight out of a movie. They slip past the first guard post, then the second. Finally, they reach this massive, heavy iron gate leading out into the city, and it just swings open for them, all by itself. Peter is in such a daze, he genuinely thinks he's hallucinating. It isn't until they emerge into the cool night air, walk down an alley, and the angel suddenly vanishes that Peter snaps out of it. He finally realizes, wow, the Lord actually rescued me from the hand of Herod. And hey, Peter wasn't the only one experiencing this jaw-dropping level of deliverance. Facing his own impossible odds, Paul recounts a similar, incredibly visceral rescue in his second letter to Timothy. He writes, "The Lord stood by me and gave me strength, and I was rescued from the lion's mouth." Now, whether he meant a literal, physical beast in the Roman Colosseum or just the crushing jaws of Emperor Nero's wrath, the takeaway is exactly the same. Both of these men were staring down certain doom, and both credit pure divine intervention for their survival.
All right, moving into part 3, finishing the race.
As we shift to the final chapters of their journeys, the pacing kind of slows down a bit. Paul knows his death is right around the corner, and he uses a very specific word to describe it: libation. He writes, "I'm already being poured out like a libation, and the time of my departure is at hand." Now, modern audiences might easily miss the depth of that word. In the ancient world, a libation was a sacrificial drink offering that you poured out completely onto an altar. By using this specific imagery, Paul perfectly captures his willing sacrifice. His life is being totally emptied out for his faith. Nothing left in the tank.
And that total, unwavering dedication culminates in this triumphant, almost athletic reflection. Listen to this. I have competed well, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. He is using the language of an Olympian crossing the finish line. Despite the imprisonments, the chains, the lion's mouth, he looks back with zero regret. He just has the deep satisfaction of a runner who left absolutely everything on the track so that his message could be heard by all the Gentiles.
Which brings us to our final section, a shared enduring legacy. Let's look at the profound legacies secured by both of these men after surviving their massive earthly crucibles. We have two historical giants perfectly balanced in the texts. On one side, Peter, who was entrusted with foundational authority, holding the literal keys to the kingdom and that immense power of binding and loosing. And on the other side, Paul, the ultimate runner of the race, confidently awaiting what he calls the crown of righteousness. And it's so beautiful because Paul notes that the just judge will award this crown not just to him, but to absolutely anyone who runs their own race with that same longing. So here is the clear narrative thread connecting these two lives across this whole explainer. Think about it. Despite paranoid kings, 16 guard security details, heavy iron chains, and literal or metaphorical lions, both men experienced ultimate deliverance. As Paul summarizes it, the Lord will rescue me from every evil threat and will bring me safe to his heavenly kingdom. It is a shared legacy where intense, terrifying earthly struggle is just completely eclipsed by divine rescue. We wrap up this explainer with a final thought for you. We've just explored ancient texts detailing two guys who went head-to-head with the absolute extremes of earthly power, and they walked away with unshakable legacies that outlasted the Roman Empire itself. So, if absolute earthly power couldn't silence them, what kind of legacy are you building when you face pressure today? Take a hard look at your own foundations and keep exploring.